KCAA.
Welcome back to Money Talk. This is Jesse Torres, and in the Money Talk studios with me today is Kayhan Fatimi, the small business attorney. Welcome back, Kayhan.
Thank you very much.
So we've had some great speakers today, great guests. We started out with Karen Andres. She talked about the Emerge conference. We then spoke with Alex Nascimento, who helps businesses get into Brazil. And it's a good time to get into Brazil. We just then completed our interview with Mark Campbell, who is the money manager at Slash Comedian, and so he shared with us some of his thoughts.
Life strategist.
Slash life strategist. That's right. And before we go any further, I want to go ahead and I want to take this moment to thank our sponsor, Pan American Bank, who is a supporter of our program. So now, Kayhan, next up we have Peter Riggio. He is with Swipe4TheKids, and this is an interesting program. I know you and I off air were talking about it, and I know you have a client that doesn't necessarily do what they do, but does something similar with their merchants clients. And so I'm going to ask Peter to explain to me this sort of novel approach to a very old school business model. So Peter Riggio, thank you for being on Money Talk with us.
Thank you, Jesse. Thanks for having me on the line.
So Swipe4TheKids, tell me about. I'm going to let you explain to the people exactly what that's all about.
Well, Swipe4TheKids was the brainchild of a company called Pomeroy Equitable Solutions, and Swipe4TheKids is our program. And what it does is it takes businesses and an everyday expense that they incur, in this case, merchant services, and allows us to direct some of the money that's going through that channel into youth programs locally, and getting the word out for those businesses to let them know that these are businesses that are on board with their community. And so it's a really unique program, and it actually creates sustainable funding because of the nature of an existing business expense for the company. And it costs nothing for the business to participate or the consumer.
So, let's kind of take a step back. So whenever there's a business out there that accepts Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, whatever it might be, Diners Club. I don't even know if Diners Club even exists still, but Diners Club, let's say, that business has to pay a merchant service fee for the ability to accept those payments. Is that correct? That is.
And every business that's taking retail usually is involved with merchant services in order to take credit cards and accept various types of payments.
And so what you've done then is you're taking the fee that's paid and you're routing that to some of these community-based organizations that benefit kids in light of the funding issues that have occurred in the last 5 to 6 years.
Exactly that. The government funds have fluctuated, of course, year to year, and in some cases just completely knocked out these youth programs. The nonprofits are doing a great job out there. However, a lot of times the funds aren't directed to a specific area, so they kind of get spread out, or the donors don't have as much money one year to the next. And the kids are really at the back end of that deal with uncertainty. They have a program one year, next year they don't have one. And so Swipe4TheKids is able to, through an existing expense and the nature of it being sustainable because it's an ongoing expense, fill those funding gaps. And it just takes a few businesses in each area to really make a difference with a local school, their program. It could be a music program or a sports program, or just helping with the kids like our Edible Garden out in Orlando, Florida, that we support.
Yeah, I sit on a number of nonprofit organizations, and I can tell you, there's one in particular where we've lost our funding for youth-based programs because the funding from the state and from the feds dried up, and our fundraising capacity just wasn't sufficient to maintain these programs at the level that we had previously had them. And so when I heard about this Swipe4TheKids program, I thought, this is really a novel idea. It's a great way to take money that's already circulating in the system. So, the business isn't necessarily doing anything new. They're accepting credit cards like they always have been doing so. But rather than giving the money, these fees, to a company that is just going to take that and, in a sense, pocket the entire amount, what you're doing is you're actually turning part of that into a charitable contribution.
That's exactly right. And so businesses really don't feel any change at all in their existing method. In fact, most of the times they'll stay with a lot of the same parts and pieces that they're accustomed to. The integration process is very simple, and the company backs it up with a lifetime guarantee that we're never going to raise their rate, and then we'll flat out match their rate straight across the board. And so it's a no-brainer for the business. What it's really doing is also connecting business with community in the way that those businesses that are supporting the community, that the word gets out for them that they're a business that's on cue long-term to support community youth enrichment programs. In other words, they both.
There have been a number of, over the last 5-6 years as we've gone through this great recession. A lot of communities have been sort of trying to figure out what to do. Particularly those that are on the lower end of the economic spectrum. And there's been this movement that the last few years has kind of taken hold, and it's called the Keeping It Local movement, where consumers are being encouraged by their mom and pop businesses to shop locally, to keep the money recycled in these communities. And I've never heard, this is the first time that I've actually heard of the merchant fees, these merchant services fees, sort of being recycled as well. Now, when you look at merchants, do they have to be of any particular size? Do they have to have any minimum number or amount of revenues, or is it really if you are offering merchant services now, this is the pricing, but it doesn't matter whether you process 10 transactions a month or 1,000 transactions a month, you're able to participate in the program.
That's correct. Small or large, any business can. And that's a great question, because those local businesses, and even if a company has a number of locations, let's say, each one of those businesses are local to one neighborhood or another. And so it's not so much the amount, it's participating in the solution. And collectively, these businesses joining together, and what I mean by joining together is setting a specific goal right here in that community, something that they can be on board with collectively. By drawing these businesses together, you're really building an account for that specific program. And as you overcome the grant needs for that program, say maybe music instruments for a local school or something like this, then you move right on to the next one in that local community, because it would accomplish the sustainability for that specific program. So as more businesses continue to join, we knock out more funding gaps. It's very exciting.
And who decides what programs in a particular community get funding? Is that a decision that you guys make, or is that a decision the merchant makes?
We really like to keep it on the ground right there in the local area, and I don't want to avoid the question, but it's kind of an interesting question that you asked, because you heard me mention that nonprofits, the money's going out into numerous different areas, so everybody has a favorite nonprofit they want to support. But because it's going out in a lot of different directions, we don't see it really consolidate and make an impact right there on one specific program. So we try to identify, we'll work with the business. If they know a good program and we're new to that specific area, and they know a good program that needs help, our youth enrichment director will take a look at it, contact that organization, make sure they meet our criteria, and then if they're accepted, then we'll start funding it. What we'd like to do then, once we've identified a program there, is then bring other businesses together under supporting that same program. That way, again, my original note there, that when kids get a program, they get to keep it. If we just put a little money here, a little money here, a little money there, all across the board, you don't get that impact. Although we always have a listening ear, because we're not on the ground right there necessarily in that community, so we want to know more about what's happening there and what's working.
So now, Peter, as we've talked about the credit card processing, this merchant processing service. Am I right in understanding that you also have a similar program with dispense-only ATMs that can be placed at these businesses?
Yeah, it's a wonderful program. I'd love to, I can't really dive into it as deep as I'd like to here to explain all the ins and outs, but it's a tremendous profit generator for certain types of businesses. It allows the machine itself to be wrapped with Swipe for the Kids so that it can identify that that's a community-related machine, because part of the money, part of that transaction is going to go to support that local program. Plus, it creates a revenue stream additional for the business. It's a real win-win for any company that really fits that criteria. I'm not saying that every business that we talk to would be a candidate for an ATM. However, we'll look at that data, and if it comes out that it's a nice fit, it's a wonderful program for them to participate in.
That's fantastic. So we've only got about another minute or so. Can you just quickly share, examples of some of your success stories, where kids have benefited from this?
Absolutely. A lot of folks can go to the site and see a lot of the news and press, but to give you a quick snapshot, we have an edible garden if we went all the way across the coast here down to Florida that supports kids, and they have a little garden. They learn academics also in that garden. Come right back out to our area here down in Orange County, the Bourbon Street Bar and Grill. They've been a wonderful supporter of Fullerton Cares and for autism, and we've supported them and had quite a bit of interest in a few articles here and there talking about our relationship. It's been exciting.
Well, hey, Peter, how do we reach it? We're running out of time here. How do we reach it if we want to get this program in place?
We have an ambassador right there on the ground in that area. We're working in the Montebello area. In fact, we're going to be meeting with some folks over there at the Rotary Club next Tuesday. But Raul Avila is the individual person that is working with Swipe for the Kids. He's an ambassador there. He shares the program.
Great. And does he have a phone number or an email address real quick?
Absolutely. Let me give you a phone number, and then we'll go for the website. The phone number is 323-698-3099.
Great.
And the website, of course, is swipe4thekids.com. It's swipe, the number 4, thekids.com, and they can click on contact us, and we will make sure someone gets a hold of them right away.
Great. Well, thank you, Peter, for joining us on Money Talk, and we will be speaking with everyone next week. Again, 4 p.m. Wednesday. Thanks a lot.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM. The station that leads
NBC News Radio, I'm Melissa Rayberger. Torrential rains and heavy flooding swamped the Florida Panhandle and southern Alabama. NBC's Jay Gray says it's yet another twist on the severe weather punishing the South the past 4 days.
In some places, more than 20 inches in the last 24 hours has washed out roadways, swallowed neighborhoods, and stretched first responders to their limit.
In Baltimore, heavy rains caused a massive block-long sinkhole that sucked in cars. A CSX train carrying tankers of crude oil derailed in downtown Lynchburg, Virginia this afternoon. City officials say it exploded into flames, sending clouds of black smoke floating over the area. There has been a push for better oversight of safety involving oil trains due to a recent spate of crashes. The line is forming to buy the LA Clippers, and Oprah Winfrey is apparently among the interested parties. NBA team owners plan to discuss the next steps in removing Donald Sterling as the Clippers owner tomorrow over racist remarks he made. This is NBC News Radio.
Hi, I'm Lynn, and I am totally blind. Like many who are totally blind, I have non-24, a circadian rhythm disorder that can put your sleep-wake cycle out of sync with the 24-hour day. But I found out there's a new treatment available for non-24. It's called Hetlioz Tazimiltian, the first FDA-approved treatment for non-24.
The most common side effects of Hetlioz include headache, elevated liver enzymes, nightmares or abnormal dreams, and upper respiratory or urinary tract infection. These may occur more often in patients 65 or older. It may cause drowsiness, so limit your activity to preparing for bed. Hetlioz has not been studied, and it is not recommended for use in pregnant women, children, or people with severe liver problems. To learn more and to hear the full prescribing information, visit Hetlioz.com or call 844-241-2424. That's 844-241-2424.
Hetlioz is now available for non-24. Talk to your doctor today.
Sponsored by Vanda Pharmaceuticals.
Hey guys, Dave Ramsey.